These scandal sheets carry more than just sensational stories about famous personalities. They carry an unusual variety of classified advertising. One of the items is counterfeit college diplomas. We couldn't help notice in one recent issue that 3 of the 4 American firms offering this service are in Florida, 2 right here in Tampa. By tracing postal records, the first one led us to the Dixie Neon Sign Company on South 22nd Street. We asked owner Fred Hevia about the diploma ad.
I have nothing to do with that.
You
My
don't?
wife does it like a little bit on the side, but I mean, I run a sign company.
Yeah.
Now.
So we went to see Mrs. Hevia.
Good morning. Vesta Hevia? Are you Vesta Hevia?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. Jay
Don't
goes from
turn
Channel
that
7.
on.
We'd like
Don't
to
turn
talk to you
that.
about your
No, I'm
diploma
sorry.
company.
I have nothing to talk to you about.
The address on the other Tampa diploma mill is 8100 North 40th Street near Busch Gardens. It's the Joe Carroll Daycare Center. We couldn't reach owner Joe Patronostro at the center. We did find him at home.
All right, well, we have a list of 70 companies doing the same thing.
Can I have the list?
You're the reporter.
Goodbye.
By the way, you're trespassing on this property.
We're leaving.
Selling these counterfeit diplomas treads a fine line between fun and fraud. The diploma dealers call them novelty items and ask you to sign a disclaimer saying they won't be used to obtain credit or employment. On the other hand, they offer genuine degrees up to and including doctorates. They charge $40 to $80, and the sticky Nostro, he uses the name and also sells blank transcripts. We obtained one of his diplomas, a business degree from Case Western Reserve University of Ohio. We showed it to officials at the University of South Florida.
No academician would like to see that happen. It's a fraud, just plain downright fraud, despite the fact that these people say it's a novelty. If someone came to you and applied for a job, and they presented a diploma of the sort that you just showed me, I'd be rather convinced by that. Looks like it's real.
If you still think these diploma mills are a joke, check here at the State House in Tallahassee like I did. Tomorrow night in Part 2, I'll show you examples of how counterfeit diplomas have cost people jobs and money, not only in the Tampa Bay area, but throughout the state. On the Consumer Beat, Jay Gross, Action News. What do you get with a college education? Not only a better chance for a job, you gain respect and credibility. Just ask this man. He's not a college graduate, although he calls himself Dr. Kennard. According to Volusia County court records, Kennard bought a phony doctorate by mail from Vesta Hevia's diploma company in Tampa. Yes, he signed her disclaimer saying he wouldn't use it for fraudulent purposes. What Dr. Kennard was buying was your trust and his credibility, and he got plenty of both. More than $400,000 worth in a 1979 worm farm scam, mostly from small Florida investors. Mrs. Hevia is unwilling to discuss the doctor's phony diploma.
If you publish any picture whatsoever, you will be sued.
By the way, the phony Dr. Kennard landed himself a 20-year prison term. An even bigger case of diploma fraud happened here in Leon County, and of all things, it involved teachers. The 7 teachers were legitimate graduates of Florida A&M and Tallahassee. They used an insider at the college to forge unearned credits for master's degrees. With the advanced degrees, they got substantial pay raises, and in some cases, administrative promotions. Dale Croy is the chief investigator for the Leon County State Attorney. His records show all of the teachers pled guilty, all permanently lost their teaching licenses.
Many taught in the public schools for more than 15 years. There were several that we investigated that were in the public schools for more than 20 years and saw fit to obtain a forged, false, and fictitious master's degree.
One of the teachers is St. Petersburg's Partakus Blackshear Jr. He taught for 10 years in Pinellas County, most recently at Lellman Middle School and also at Gibbs High. Before the A&M scandal caught up with him, personnel evaluations graded him good and excellent in almost every category. On the advice of his attorney, however, Mr. Blackshear wouldn't go on camera. So how then does the A&M case tie into the diploma mills here in Tampa, you ask? Well, the case mostly involves the altering and forging of transcripts. A transcript is the permanent record of a student's grades. Tampa's Joe Patronostro not only sells diplomas, he offers blank transcripts for $10 apiece.
To us, a transcript is almost as important as a diploma, for an employer rarely asks to see the diploma, but always asks to see the transcript, which contains the grades and the course of study taken by the student.
St. Petersburg teacher Particus Blackshear Jr. lost his teaching license. Volusia County businessman Bud Kennard got a 20-year jail sentence. Both men lied and cheated about their educational backgrounds and got caught. In Tallahassee, private investigator Mike Wynn now specializes in verifying people's credentials. It's a new job for the former assistant to the state comptroller because, simply put, more job seekers are trying to cheat.
I think you find it more into the middle management, high technology areas where the competition for jobs and degrees is really tough. You find a lot of overstatement of degrees, overstatement of qualifications.
Two people who make overstating degrees and qualifications easy are Tampa's Joe Patronostro and Vesta Hevia. Both offer mail-order college diplomas. Both claim the diplomas are novelty items or jokes.
I want you off the property, my friend.
Okay, we can't talk about the
I want
counterfeit
you off
diplomas?
You're transparency.
Both refuse to be interviewed on camera for this report.
I can't imagine why anyone would pay $40 or $90 for a diploma if they intended to use it as a joke. It's a piece of paper, after all, unless it's being used as a real diploma, which means plain fraud. Now, whether this company can be accused of fraud is one issue. Whether the persons who buy this thing are fraudulent, I think there's very little question about that. Maybe a separate issue, but that's very bothersome.
This diploma is real. The other was ordered from Mr. Patronostro. Can you spot the phony? Officials at Case Western University in Ohio had no trouble. They have plenty of trouble, though, with Patronostro using the name of their school.
I think there's a legal question, too. To use the name of a university without permission is probably illegal.
I spoke with the chief mail fraud investigator for the Tampa area, and he told me his office would like to cancel graduation from Tampa's mail-order diploma mills. But currently, the mills are not violating any mail fraud statutes. So if there's going to be any final recess, it's going to have to come from state or county law enforcement. In Tallahassee, the Attorney General's office is already investigating, and the case of college in the classifieds is in the process of being referred to Hillsborough County State Attorney E.J. Salsinas.